What's up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. We got a massive weekend of football to go through here, college and NFL. We had the Thursday night football game last night. Go Birds, got the win 2-0. So it was a good game. I told people this was going to be closer than they think. A lot of starters out for Philly on defense. No Reed Blankenship at safety. No Nakobe Dean at linebacker. James Bradbury at corner as well. And then Avonte Maddox gets injured during the game. So it was tough. It was a tough game, 27-7 at one point for Philly, but the Vikings scoring 21-7 down the stretch and making it a 6-point affair at the end. But Eagles did get the win 34-28. Kirk Cousins, 31 of 44, 70.5%, 364 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a fumble. Pretty good night for Kirk. They didn't really have a run game, so Kirk struggled early, but got the ball down the field late in that game. Jalen Hurts here, 18-23, 78.3%, 193 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 12 carries, 35 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. The Philly, it was pretty much flipped from Minnesota to Philly. Philly, they had the one deep shot, 60-yard touchdown to Devontae Smith, and then there really weren't a lot of deep throws otherwise. They hit a A.J. Brown touchdown that was called back for holding. And other than that, the ground game was really Philly's offense in this one. As you can see, running back DeAndre Swift getting the start with Kenny Gainwell out. 28 carries, massive workload, 175 yards, 6.3 per clip, 1 touchdown, and 3 receptions for 6 yards as well. So, yeah, Swift showed everyone why the Eagles traded for him during this game, and I love it. It was it's crazy that he only got traded for 4th round pick and a swap of 7th. So Howie Roseman strikes again, I guess. Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson led the game in receiving 11 receptions, 159 yards on 13 targets and a fumble. Devontae Smith also over 100, 4 for 131, 1 touchdown, 5 targets. You had the rookie first rounder wide receiver Jordan Addison catch a touchdown on 5 targets. Tight end TJ Hawkinson caught 2 touchdowns on 8 targets. Big night for him. And then Vikings wide receiver KJ Osborne catching the 4th touchdown from Cousins on 6 targets. Defensively, I'm going to go with 2 guys here. Vikings linebacker Danielle Hunter, 8 tackles, 5 solos, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 3 QB hits. Big night for Hunter there, wreaking havoc on that right side. And then defensive end Josh Sweat for the Eagles also had a very good night. 1 tackle, it was a solo, 1 sack, 5 QB hits on Cousins. He was a beast last night as well. Eagles -6, that pushed, and the over 49.5. Let's go to USFL news here. A couple re-signings. The New Jersey Generals re-signing quarterback Eric Barrier. Expected to play a lot more next year, so we'll look forward to that. And then the Stallions continue to re-up their back-to-back championship team, re-signing running back Bo Scarborough. So I believe they got CJ Marable and Bo Scarborough back. So it's coming together. Alex Magoo is not going to be there anymore, but they do still have their quarterback, whose name I cannot think of. I'm thinking of Jamar Smith, but Jamar Smith is the Generals quarterback, as far as I believe. I can't, or maybe it is the Birmingham Stallions quarterback. I don't remember. Anyways, yes, Birmingham continuing to re-sign some guys. NFL news, just one general thing. The NFL announced in 2024 it is expanding the practice squads of every team to include one international player. So, NFL is trying to reach the international market, and the International Player Pathway Program has been one way to do that. And now, international practice squad place on each team will give players from other countries even more of a chance to make an impact. NFI, the Rams placed rookie quarterback Stetson Bennett on the reserve NFI list. He is out for at least the next 4 games. Did have a shoulder injury, but head coach Sean McVay said it's not related to that. Have not seen or heard what it is related to, so we have no clue. But Stetson did not back up Stafford last week. It was Brett Rippon coming off the practice squad, and it will continue to be Brett Rippon going forward. IR, the Panthers, they placed guard Brady Christensen on IR, also placing corner J.C. Horn on IR as well today with a hamstring surgery coming for him. So, sucks. Christensen, that's a tough one to lose in the middle of that line for Bryce Young. And then Horn, of course, their best corner on defense. Seahawks, they placed right tackle Abe Lucas on IR, so they have now lost both of their tackles, I believe, to IR. So it's tough. They signed Jason Peters to the practice squad. We'll see how long it takes him to get ready at 41 years old. But yeah, it's going to be a tough time for Seattle going forward. Steelers, they placed defensive lineman Cam Hayward on IR. He's having groin surgery, out about 8 weeks. Massive loss to the Steelers defense. It's going to make it tough playing against the Browns this week, especially Nick Chubb running up through the middle there. But I believe in them. They drafted Keanu Benton for a reason, even though he's more of a nose tackle. But he's going to have to step up in the middle of that D line there for Pittsburgh. Injury-wise, the Falcons corner Jeff Okudah, he has a foot injury, and running back Cordell Patterson has a thigh injury. Chargers defensive end Joey Bosa, he has hamstring soreness. He is TBD to play this weekend. Not sure if they're going to have Bosa for LA or not. Broncos pass rusher Frank Clark, he is week to week with a hip injury. Multiple weeks expected for that one. And then it's not confirmed yet, but it is feared that Eagles defensive back Avonte Maddox has a torn pec, and he would be out for the year if that is the case. Ins and outs for this weekend, Commanders defensive end Chase Young with his neck injury. He will make his season debut. Was expected not to be playing till week 3, but he'll play on a limited snap basis and will be out there for Washington. Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, similar to Chase Young. He has a hamstring injury that he's coming off of. He is on track to play right now. Again, probably going to be a limited basis, though, for Jeudy. Chiefs getting reinforcements, both tight end Travis Kelce with his knee injury and defensive tackle Chris Jones with his contract situation. They are both back and will be playing against the Jags this weekend. Also back, Ravens tight end Mark Andrews coming off a quad injury, expected to play. Rams rookie wide receiver Puka Nacua has an oblique injury. He is listed as questionable but expected to play. And the Packers have a whole host of injuries. Left tackle David Bakhtiari, running back Aaron Jones with a hamstring, linebacker Quay Walker is still in concussion protocol, and wide receiver Christian Watson with a hamstring. All are listed as questionable. Watson, I would say, is the most likely out of those 4 to play. Walker still in concussion protocol, so probably not going to play. Bakhtiari, I'm not sure about. Jones, possibly, but he was not at practice yesterday. So the Raiders ruled out wide receiver Jacoby Myers with his concussion. So they will look toward Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow, their old friend, to step up in his stead. Chargers running back Austin Eckler is doubtful with his ankle injury. It will be Joshua Kelly taking the lead snaps if Eckler cannot go. And the Texans quarterback CJ Stroud is questionable, listed as a right shoulder injury. So we could see Davis Mills if CJ Stroud cannot go. And just one signing to go through here: the Panthers. They signed former Bears running back Tariq Cohen to their practice squad. Hasn't played in a game since 2020 when he had a gruesome knee injury, tore his ACL, MCL, LCL, as well as his meniscus, I believe. And trying to make a comeback after 3 seasons out of football. But yeah, I'm excited about it. He would definitely add a passing style back that the Panthers really don't have, or passing specialist, I guess, that they don't really have in the backfield right now with Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, and co. So I'm excited to see if Cohen can get out there and regain his old form. He was a PPR specialist in Chicago. All right. That is the news for today. So here are the college football pick standings. Logan and I tying last week. Jimmy 1 game back. So Jimmy now drops 4 games out of first place in last. And I maintain my 1 game gap to Logan in first. So Logan, the only one still with single-digit losses on the year after 3 weeks, week 0, 1, and 2 here. Going into week 3. And that is the reason why it's still a 1 game gap, is because Logan and I both went 1-0 in our college Lone Wolves. He got Miami right over Texas A&M. I got Texas right over Alabama, and Jimmy went 1-1 in his Lone Wolves. Got Washington State right over Wisconsin, but Texas State wrong against UTSA. So the first game up is one tonight. There are actually 3 games going on tonight, but this is the only one we are picking here. Utah State, the Aggies, heading to face 2-0 Air Force. 10 points for the Falcons at home in Colorado there. We are all on the Air Force Falcons here. I think they should win this game. Utah State is not a good program, I think. I'm not saying 10 is a lock for Air Force, but it's actually 9 now. I have it written down as 9. But yeah, I think it'd be a decent play, but I would not 100% confident in that. Total is 45.5. I lean under in this one. Air Force running the triple option. A lot of clock gets run off. 8 p.m. CBS Sportsnet. And tomorrow, Saturday, college football. Number 3, Florida State Seminoles heading up to the soggy and wet Northeast. Boston College hosting Florida State here. Seminoles getting 24.5 on the road. Again, it's going to be very sloppy. I don't know if the passing game of Jordan Travis is really going to work a lot, considering how much precipitation they're calling for with the hurricane hitting the Northeast there and parts of Massachusetts. So I would look for Florida State to run the ball a lot, Trey Benson and company, and that is how they get this done. So not really sure about the 24.5 being in the sloppy game, even though I don't really like Boston College that much. Total is 46. I lean under because of the conditions that they're going to be playing in. 12 p.m. ABC. Number 7, Penn State at Illinois. Penn State coming over to Champaign here. 14.5 on the road for the Nittany Lions. And this is one of the upset specials that is a little bit of a trappy feel to it. So Illinois, very good defense. Luke Altmaier at quarterback. They got to figure out the offensive side of the ball. Drew Aller, his first career road start. So that is a big importance in this game. But I think he's going to be all right. They're going to lean on the run game, Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen, like they've done the first 2 games of the year. And they're going to pound this Illinois defense into submission. And I think Penn State gets out of it with a win. Total is 48.5. I lean under with how well both defenses play. 12 p.m. on Fox. Big noon kickoff. Number 14, LSU at Mississippi State. And look at this. We have the first lone wolf of the show today. It is Miss Jimmy taking the Bulldogs. Jimmy taking the Bulldogs. At home, 2-0 Mississippi State. Will Rogers and company under head coach Zach Arnett. Yeah, I mean, this should be a shootout. But I'm still leaning with the better team. Jaden Daniels and that LSU offense, Logan Diggs at running back, and Malik Neighbors at wide receiver, and all the other guys they have, Mason Smith on defense, Harold Perkins, etc. I just think they're a better team. Brian Kelly's the better coach, and LSU gets this one done on the road. I think Mississippi State plus 9.5 is a decent play though, so I wouldn't count that out. But LSU wins this one. Total is 54. I like the over. 12 p.m. on ESPN. Number 15, Kansas State at Missouri. This weekend is filled with upset potential with a lot of ranked teams going on the road to unranked opponents. This is another one here. The Wildcats going to the Tigers in Columbia, Missouri. Just 3.5. It's actually 4 now for Kansas State. I like that line. Don't believe in the Missouri offense, Brady Cook and company. I love what Will Howard has been doing for K-State. And I also like the K-State defense as well. So give us the Wildcats, and we are all in step on this one. Total is 49.5. Lean under. I think it'll go just under that. 12 p.m. SEC Network. Weber State at number 12, Utah. Top 20 ranked FCS team is Weber State. Intrastate battle as well, as Weber is in Utah. But the Utes will get this one. I'm hoping Cam Rising is back. He doesn't need to be back for this game. This would be a good game for Bryson Barnes and or Nate Johnson, whichever guy they go with. If Cam Rising is not playing, think that this would be a good get-right game for those two. Nate Johnson coming off fantastic end to that game last week, the Baylor game last week. That's the team they played. Bryson Barnes struggling in that one, so maybe it's a good thing to get him more experience against the inferior opponent, but Utah takes this one. We'll see what the spread ended up being on Tuesday. This is 2 p.m. Pac-12 Network. Central Michigan, the Chippewas in South Bend at number 9, Notre Dame. The Irish getting 34.5 at home. I think they'll cover that. Sam Hartman has been absolutely fantastic through 3 games for the Irish, maybe even more than what they expected of him coming from Wake Forest. But don't really like Central Michigan a lot this year in the MAC. It's going to be a tough game for them, but the Irish roll and possibly even cover there. Total is 51.5. I lean under. 2:30 on Peacock. Go Dogs. South Carolina at number 1, Georgia. The Dogs getting 27 at home. I don't like that. I like the South Carolina side of this. Plus 27, plus 27 and a half, whatever you can get there. For one, because it's an SEC game, and for two, this is Georgia's first test of the season. Even though the defense played pretty well against two non-Power 5 teams, one FCS and one MAC team, this is going to be a tough test. It's at home, luckily for them. But unfortunately, I have seen this happen before. I have seen us be a big favorite at home and lose to the Gamecocks in Athens. As I was there for the double overtime Rodrigo Blankenship miss that the Gamecocks won in 2020 or 2019, whatever it was. So yeah, I like South Carolina's plus 27. Dogs get the win though in a closer one than people think. Total is 54 and a half. I lean under. 3:30 SEC on CBS. Last year of that. Number 10, Alabama at USF. The Bulls. My guy Zach Perkins on the O-line, he's got a chance, right? Against Bama. They're coming off a loss. They're reeling. Unfortunately, they are coming off a loss. 33 points for Bama right now. I think they cover that. Nick Saban will want to show everyone that it was a fluke loss against Texas in Tuscaloosa. And they're going to put some points up on the Bulls in South Florida there, unfortunately. But, yeah, Bama beats them big. Love the alliteration, right? Total is 61. I like the over in that one. 3:30 on ABC. San Diego State, how about the Aztecs heading to face number 16 Oregon State? The Beavers getting 25 at home. And we are all with the DJU, Jonathan Smith and company there in Corvallis. San Diego State, despite their 2-1 record, I haven't been as impressed as I would have liked them to be. And I have been impressed with DJU Uiagalelei. So give me the Beavers. I don't know about the 25. The SDSU defense is pretty solid, but so is Oregon State. So I'm not sure about the spread. The total is 48. I lean under because of those defensives. 3:30 FS1. Number 19, Oklahoma. The Sooners on the road. Short trip to Tulsa. Sooners getting 28.5 on the road. I think they'll cover that, but they had a really poor game last week against SMU, just 28-11 win. So Tulsa is not as good as SMU in my mind, but I'm just saying we need Oklahoma. We need to see Oklahoma play a lot better than they did last week if we're going to believe in this team going forward. So give me Oklahoma. Again, not really confident in the points, though. Total is 59.5. I lean under. 3:30 ESPN2. Golden Gophers, Minnesota at number 20, North Carolina. No one wants to take a shot on the Gophers in Chapel Hill, I guess. But we're all on the Drake May train. He's been playing really solid, especially the South Carolina game week 1 was fantastic. So I like the Heels in this game. Minnesota has a really solid defense, so I could see this one being close. And North Carolina kind of took a step back, but that was an interstate rivalry with App State last week. Totally understand why it went to double overtime. but this one is not. This one is a interconference rivalry. I think the offense for North Carolina is what's going to do it. The Mac Brown defense has taken a step this year, but the difference is in the offenses where Ethan Kaliak-Man is still a very young quarterback and trying to figure it out there for the Gophers. So give me North Carolina. It's 7 right now, so give me the 7. I like it. And total is 51. Give me the under 51. 3:30 ESPN. Northwestern Wildcats on the road at number 21 Duke Blue Devils, getting 17 at home here. And I think Duke will cover that. Riley Leonard's my dude, and I'm sticking to him. So Northwestern, good win last week in a blowout over UTEP. But now they got to go back on the road. They got crushed by Rutgers week 1. I think they'll get crushed by Duke in this game. Total is 48.5. I like the over. Give me the over. 48.5. Just by a half. 49. 7 touchdowns. 3:30 ACC Network. Western Michigan at number 25 Iowa. The Hawkeyes at home. Our guy Colin Schultz is going to be there. Resident Hawkeye fan. 28 points for the Hawkeyes here. Give me Western Michigan plus 28. I mean, Iowa is not covered in both of their wins so far this year. And if they don't cover here, there's no way Brian Ferentz has a chance at keeping his job because they're averaging 22 points per game right now. You got to score a lot to kind of skew it with the amount of good defenses they're going to be playing the rest of the season, starting next week with Penn State. I believe that's who they play in State College, by the way. But they also have to play, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, the Western Division teams, and some other solid Eastern ones as well. So it's going to be tough. You got to score a lot of points here. I just don't trust Iowa to do that yet. Total is 43.5. That's tough, but I lean under because it's Iowa. 3:30 Big Ten Network. Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers at number 6 Ohio State. The Buckeyes getting 30 at home. Give me Western Kentucky plus 30. I think that is a very solid bet. Austin Reed is a fantastic quarterback, and I'm interested to watch him play against this Buckeyes defense and see if they can compete because Ohio State, for one, has not covered 30 in either of their games, and for two, has not seen a high-level offense like this yet this season. So it's going to be a good test for both sides, and give me Western Kentucky plus 30 here, but the Buckeyes do end up winning as the elite talent just rises to the top. Total is 66. Under. Just because I watched that Western Kentucky USF game a couple weeks ago, and it was Western Kentucky shot themselves in the foot a little bit, so I like the under, 66. 4 p.m. on Fox. Number 8, Washington. The Huskies at Michigan State in East Lansing. The sky is falling for the Spartans right now. No Mel Tucker suspended for his legal issues currently. But Sparty is 2-0. The Huskies, I don't know if this is disrespectful to only give them 16 points on the road. But, it is against Big Ten team. Michigan State is 2-0. So, sure. Give me the 16 for Washington. I just don't think Michigan State is in a good state of mind right now, and I don't really believe in their quarterback, Noah Kim, yet. So I like the Huskies minus 16. Michael Penix has a good day. Total is 56 under. 5 p.m. on Peacock. Northern Colorado, the Bears heading to number 23, Washington State. Cougars coming off a big win over number 19 Wisconsin last week and vaulting themselves into the top 25 this week. So going to have a good game for Cam Ward and company. Should score a lot of points against the 0-2 FCS squad in Northern Colorado. This one is 5 p.m. Pac-12 Network. NC Central, the Eagles heading all the way across country to number 24 UCLA. This should be a good test for UCLA. Just saying, NC Central is the top 25 team in FCS. So the Eagles aren't just a scrub FCS team for any purposes there, but UCLA, I think, should win and win handily. Again, we don't know what the spread is yet until tomorrow, but this one should be nice for Chip Kelly and whoever is quarterback. I believe Dante Moore started last week and played the entire game. So 5 p.m. on Pac-12 Network as well. Regional coverage, I guess, or they just have Pac-12 alternates. Sure. SEC matchup number 11, Tennessee at Florida. It is down to 5.5 for the Vols on the road. I just cannot imagine Tennessee not covering a touchdown like that. Joe Milton and his Tennessee offense under Josh Heupel has looked really good. Have they played anyone? Not really. But they have played an FBS team in Virginia. Florida, on the other hand, struggled mightily against a good Utah team. And I just think they're in the swamp, but I don't think it's going to matter because Tennessee's just a better team. So, and Joe Milton is a better quarterback than Graham Mertz. Even though if it is ever so slightly, I just do not trust Graham Mertz, and I like Tennessee minus 6.5, or even now it's 5.5. So go get that line, make it a lot better for you. Total is 56.5. I like the over with the Tennessee offense here. 7 p.m. on ESPN. JMU, the Dukes at Troy. The Trojans getting 3 at home. No one is taking the Troy Trojans at home as the favorite. Everyone is on JMU. That's interesting dynamic here. We're going to look bad picking JMU probably, but JMU got a massive win last week against ACC team in Virginia. So that was big and interstate matchup there. But also, I just think it's the JMU program, the way that they run it. They are successful, and it has translated into successful FBS play in the Sun Belt as well. So should be a really tight game, but I like JMU to pull it out, even though they are on the road. Total is 46.5. I like the under. 7 p.m. NFL Network. Bowling Green at number 2, Michigan. The Eagles coming in to face the Wolverines. And Bowling Green plus 40.5 has to be the play. I mean, Michigan has not covered. And I agreed. I don't recall who said it this week, but someone was like, Michigan should be too. Like, they have to earn their number 2 spot, and they haven't yet because they haven't. And I agree. I don't think they've looked that great in their 2 games, especially against East Carolina, where they put 30 on them and then they just coasted. So, yeah. I mean, Bowling Green plus 40.5. Why not? Total is 53.5. I lean under 53.5. It's tough. It probably will go over, but I lean under. 7:30 Big Ten Network. How about Georgia Tech? The Yellow Jackets on the road at number 17 Ole Miss. Big win last week for Lane Kiffin and co. At Tulane to bump them up a couple spots in the rankings. This might be another good test even though it's at home. But Georgia Tech, watching them in that week 1 game against Louisville, I was impressed by Georgia Tech's team. So we'll see if they can stop Ole Miss or not. The Quinshon Judkins running game and Jackson Dart passing game with the plethora of weapons that Lane Kiffin utilizes. So Ole Miss 18 at home. I lean Georgia Tech plus 18 just because I think Tech's a scrappy team, and Coach Key will have them up to play this top 20 team. Total is 63. I lean over. I like the over in that one. 7:30 SEC Network. BYU at Arkansas. Look at that. Jimmy back on the Lone Wolf banner. Jimmy likes his Lone Wolves. What can we say, right? He is going with BYU on the road at Arkansas to beat the Hogs. Keaton Slovis, the transfer from Pitt, is BYU's quarterback. I just don't trust him over KJ Jefferson, the veteran at Arkansas. I think the Hogs have a good team, and I think they are going to get this win. 8 is a tough spread. If it was 10, I'd like BYU plus 10, but 8, I'm leaning Hogs. I'm not really so sure on that one, though. Should be a good game, though. I think Arkansas ultimately pulls it out, though. Total is 47.5. That's one of the lower ones of the weekend. But I lean over. I think there could be points scored in this one. 7:30 ESPN2. Wyoming, the Cowboys. 2-0 Wyoming Cowboys, mind you. On the road at number 4, Texas, coming off the massive win over Alabama last week, jumping them up from number 11 to number 4 and putting themselves in the national championship conversation. The Horns here getting 30 at home. I'm not so sure I like 30. That's a lot against what I didn't expect to be a good Wyoming team. So maybe Wyoming plus 30 is the play, but I would not play anything on this game just because I like Texas a lot this year, like him as my Big 12 champ, and they're riding high right now. Total is 48.5. I like the over. 8 p.m. Longhorn Network. Hawaii. Rainbow Warriors coming off their first win of the season at number 13, Oregon. The Ducks here, 38-point favorites at home. Unfortunately, I kind of like that, but I'm also leaning toward Hawaii plus 38, though, because of the offense. Braden Shager is fantastic, throwing for 300-plus a game, I believe. And I just, the Rainbow Warriors, if they could have a defense for once, I mean, they might be 3-0 at this point. But because they don't have a defense, I really like Oregon, and I'm leaning the minus 38. I think Bo Nix and company will put up a bunch of points on Hawaii here. Total is 68.5. I like the over. It's a lot of points, but over. 8 p.m. Pac-12 Network. And our final FBS game here, Colorado State at number 18, Colorado. Yeah. I mean, this thing is going to get out of hand and get out of hand quickly. Battle of Colorado. Dion is absolutely pissed about what offensive coordinator Jay Norvell said for the Rams. So I have hammered. It's now 23.5. I have hammered 23. I like 24. Colorado by a million is the play here. They have all the motivation and ammunition they want behind Norvell's comments and Dion's swag. And they're the number 18 team in the country for a reason now. So, yeah, Colorado wins massively. Total is 63. I like the over. 10 p.m. on ESPN. And our FCS game of the week, we have another lone wolf. Look at Logan hitting the lone wolf howl here. Number 15, Southern Illinois at number 13, SEMO, Southeast Missouri State. Paxton De Laurent has played pretty well for the Redhawks here, but I'm going with the more experienced quarterback. Nick Baker and the Salukis offense, I think, is the better quarterback in this matchup. Even though it's on the road, SIU has a good program. I think their defense plays well, picks off De Laurent a couple times, and the Salukis go into SEMO and get the win here. This one's 7 p.m. on ESPN+. And because I forgot to do this last week, here is our 2022 NFL pick standings conclusion, or final pick standings, I should say. Mark getting the win last year by 3 over Logan. Logan was the only right one to pick the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I finished 5 games back of Mark there. So pretty solid records overall. None of us broke 100 losses. Mark didn't even break 90 losses on the season. Good for him. So that is how 2022 finished out. And here is how 2023 started. Look at Jimmy with the sterling record here. That was due to lone wolves going awry for Logan and I, 0-2 for each of us. Logan lost the Chargers against the Dolphins and the Bills against the Jets on Monday Night Football. I lost my 2 other teams, the Steelers against the Niners and the Panthers against the Falcons. And Jimmy got his one right. He got the Browns right over the Steelers. Mine was not a lone wolf. He got the Browns right over the Bengals, I should say. Browns play the Steelers this week. Browns over Bengals last week. That is how he built a 3-game gap to Logan and I. 12-3, 9-6 for Logan and I last week to start the NFL season here. So here are our picks. I guess Logan, it did not save, right? We'll see here. Get Logan's picks in. But yeah, so the first game here, up, Raiders at the Bills. We are all on Buffalo, and I think for good reason. They're going to be pissed that they lost that game against the Jets last week in overtime. And unfortunately for the Raiders, they're not going to have enough firepower offensively or defensively to sustain the pressure that the Bills are going to put on them. I think the Bills defense is going to play very well with Von Miller and co. And then offensively, they got to get Stephon Diggs more involved, or keep Stephon Diggs involved, but they got to get the other pass catchers involved, including my guy Khalil Shakir and the tight ends Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. But Josh Allen, just make smart throws and you'll win this game. The Raiders defense is not even close to the Jets defense. So besides Max Crosby, I don't really think you're going to have a big issue moving the ball against that Raiders defense. And the Raiders offensively, Josh Jacobs had a down game last week, even in a win against Denver. Tough defense to play against. Bills defense is not that shabby either. So it should be a tough day for Jimmy G. And no Jacoby Myers, his favorite target last week. Got to get the ball to Devontae Adams if they want to have a chance to win. I like Bills, but Raiders +9, I think, is the play in terms of the spread, or +8 is it as it now stands. Total is 47. I am leaning under, just under though, like 43 to 45. AFC North matchup, Ravens at the Bengals. We are all on the Bengals to bounce back here. They're getting 3 at home. Joe Burrow looked like absolute crap last week in Cleveland. And they just got to figure it out. They cannot afford to lose this one. You cannot go 0-2 in the division to start the season. So I think the Bengals are going to be even more motivated with that factor. Plus, Joe Burrow is going to be pissed off that at how he played last week. So give all of us the Bengals here. And of course, no Marlon Humphrey, Ronnie Stanley, Tyler Linderbaum, or Marcus Williams for Baltimore. So that is a lot lost on the offensive line and secondary. So Joe Burrow should have a good day passing the ball. Give me Bengals -3 there. I like that. Total is 46.5. I lean on the over. Chiefs at the Jags. Sound the lone wolf alarm here because it is going down. Yes, my mentee, Ben, he will be super excited to see that I am lone wolfing the Jacksonville Jaguars against the defending Super Bowl champion, dropping them to 0-2, by the way. That would happen if the Jags win. Look, I understand. Okay, Travis Kelce's back. Chris Jones is back. That's fine. But you're going against a harder offense, okay? And what Doug Peterson said about Christian Kirk, had 1 reception for 9 yards last week, really stunk it up. He plays better against a man-based team, which the Chiefs run man. So Christian Kirk, therefore, should have a better game this week, along with Calvin Ridley, who already had a great game in Indy last weekend. It was a lot closer than people thought in Indy. That's probably why the Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites on the road here in Jacksonville. But I'm just saying the Chiefs offense did not look very good. They couldn't run the ball. So they were one-dimensional, had to throw it a lot. And even with Travis Kelce back, I think the Jags defense should be good. But I believe in Trevor Lawrence, and the Jags offense against the Chiefs defense is what I'm really banking on in this game to win it in a close one. At the very worst, Jags plus 3.5 is the play here. And total is 51. I am leaning over. By the way, no Chandler Jones for Vegas either. You're also not going to have on the field this weekend Carlton Davis, Kalijah Cansey for the Bucks, Jamal Adams, Charles Cross, Abe Lucas for the Seahawks, Jalen Petrie, Jimmy Ward for the Texans, and Christian Fulton, Amani Hooker for the Titans. No Frank Clark or Greg Dulcich for the Broncos. Chargers at the Titans. We are all lightning bolts on the screen here. The Titans look bad, man. I mean, they were lucky to get that to 1 point in New Orleans there. Close game. But the Chargers are a better team than the Saints are. And in any other game, Justin Herbert's performance last week and the Chargers' running attack would have won them the game handily. So I think that's what's going to happen in this one. No Austin Eckler, right? Probably for LA. But Joshua Kelly played very well against Miami last week. That's going to be the toughest thing to do against the Titans is run the ball. I think Justin Herbert's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, throwing it because, like I just mentioned, no Christian Fulton, no Amani Hooker for that Tennessee secondary. That's going to pose some problems against the receivers that the Chargers have in Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston, Joshua Palmer, etc. on the outside to go along with Gerald Everett and Donald Parham at tight end. So I think they're going to throw the ball around the yard in this one, and Chargers get the win, cover that -3 or -2.5 now. Even better, get that within a field goal there. Total is 45. I am going with the under. I think this is probably going to be the best game of the weekend, maybe. Other than the Chiefs-Jags, this one probably, I think, will be a solid game. Also, Commanders-Broncos could be good. Also, Browns-Steelers. But I am really excited about this game, and we have another lone wolf here, Jimmy on the prowl again. So, yeah, he is going with the Atlanta Falcons. No fault to that pick there, I think. I was back and forth on this one, but I think it's the quarterback for me. Jordan Love has less starting experience than Desmond Ridder in this league, which is kind of weird. Or maybe it's the same because of when Rodgers was injured and Love started a couple games, whatever. But I'm going with Jordan Love. I mean, they play the Bears, which is a lot worse defense than Carolina's and who Ridder played last week. But I think the Packers defense can stop the rushing attack of Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier and make Desmond Ridder throw the ball, which plays into their hands with Jair Alexander. I don't think the Falcons have the weapons on offense outside to hamper the Packers defense a lot. So give me the Packers, and Christian Watson may play in this one. They were okay without him. Romeo Doubs had a massive day last week. I think Green Bay goes to Atlanta and wins this one. So give me Packers -1, or actually it's Falcons -1.5 now. They are the favorites. So give me Packers +1.5. Why not? Just like they were last week against Chicago. Total is 40. I like the over in this game. Seahawks at the Lions, and I cannot believe I am lone wolfing this game. Yeah, dude, let me eat some kneecaps. Dan Campbell, dude, masterful job in Kansas City week 1 on the Thursday night kickoff game. And I cannot believe no one went with me on Detroit here. I understand it's a bounce back weekend for a lot of teams, especially Seattle. They got crushed by the Rams, probably the surprise of week 1 in Seattle, by the way. But I just cannot pick the Seahawks here with the issues that they have. Defensively, they got shredded by Matt Stafford and 2 young receivers, Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua, which Detroit has. Detroit has Amon-Ra St. Brown. Josh Reynolds had a big game last week against Kansas City. They have Marvin Jones, who really didn't do much, but and then they have Khalif Raymond and co. as well. But I'm just saying, offensively, the Lions have the weapons to do it against the Seahawks defense. And defensively, I think they also have the weapons to do it against Seattle. Seattle doesn't have either tackle here. And if Jason Peters gets called up to be the left tackle in this game, you're starting a 41-year-old left tackle who has had injury concerns in his time in the NFL, hasn't been that effective the last couple of seasons he's played. So give me Aiden Hutchinson all day. If it is Peters, even if it's not, the backup tackles are not that great for Seattle. So yeah, I like the Detroit pass rush, Aiden Hutchinson. James Houston. Trying to think of who else they have there. The Aquara brothers. Yeah, I just think the Detroit pass rush should get home on Geno all day. It's going to be a long day, just like it was against LA. And give me Detroit. I like it. Now, Seattle +5. I know a lot of people are on that, so that might be the play. I'm staying away from it's 4.5 now for Detroit, so I'm staying away from that. If it gets down to like 3, I might play it on Detroit's side. Total is 47. I lean over in that game. AFC South matchup, Colts at the Texans. We are all on the horseshoes here. And it's not just because CJ Stroud is questionable. It's a 1-point swing, a 2-point swing here, actually. Texans favored by 1. But yeah, I think Anthony Richardson far outshined my and a lot of other people's expectations in week 1 against Jacksonville. And even though he got hit hard late in that game, a little groggy after that, but I think he still played very well. This is a game of two teams that are on the rebuild currently at the bottom of the mountain. So I think the Colts are a little bit above them, the Texans right now in terms of overall roster. And give me the Colts to win this one here. Total is 40. I lean under. Bears at the Bucks, and look at how the tides have turned. We had 3 Viking heads up there last week against Tampa Bay, and now because Tampa won last week, we have 3 Buccaneer flags up there against the 0-1 Bears, and it makes a lot of sense. Look, I do think the Bucks team overall is a better team constructively. With what they have at the receiver position, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were super effective last week against Minnesota. I don't know if the Bears are a lot better than Minnesota on the back end. They have a lot of pieces that they're trying to put together right now in Chicago. So I'm not saying Baker's going to play that well like he did last week, but I think the Buccaneers defense is going to wrangle Justin Fields and hold him down like the Packers defense did last week as well. So Bucks -2.5 there. Total is 40.5. I'm rolling with the under, I think, in Tampa Bay. 4:05 time slot here. The Giants at the Cardinals. They are 4-point favorites on the road here. I like the 4. The Cardinals were another surprise of week 1. Played the Commanders very tough. Joshua Dobbs getting the start. He will start again this week. But the Giants are out to prove something, and I like the 4 points here for the G-Men. They scored absolutely 0 points last week, 40-0 on Sunday Night Football. Probably the worst showing, one of the worst showings you'll ever see from a football team. So they got a lot to prove, and unfortunately for the Cardinals, they are the team that is going to get the brunt of that attitude from New York. So give me the Giants, give me the -4, and G-Men big in this game here. Total is 39.5. I like the over. The other 4:05 game here, 49ers at the Rams. Puka Nacua is questionable, should play, though, for LA. I just think the 49ers are going to do what they did to the Steelers and even worse, because the Rams offensive line is probably worse than the Steelers, if that can be accomplished. And even though Matt Stafford's a veteran, the 49ers defense is not the Seahawks defense by any means. So give me the Niners, Bosa, Hargrave, Armstead, Jackson had a good week last week, so they're going to come in waves, and San Fran's going to roll this LA team here, I think. 7 points for the Niners. I would lean that. I'm not really totally confident, though. Total is 45. Give me the under 45. 425 slot here. The Jets at the Cowboys. We are all stars once again, just like we were on Sunday Night Football against the other New York team here. Yeah, it's just picking against Zach Wilson. It's as simple as that, I think, anyways. And the Cowboys defense was just fantastic last week. So give us the Cowboys at home there, home opener. And I'm not so sure about the points. It is staying at 9. So that's tough to cover in the NFL. But if anyone can do it, it is Dan Quinn and that defense. Total is 38.5. I like the under. And that's actually tied for the low of the weekend is 38.5. But the other 425 game here, Commanders at the Broncos. Jimmy, once again, man, going in Wolf here. Going with Riverboat Ron on the road at Sean Payton's Broncos. Lost a heartbreaker to Vegas last week by 1 point, 17-16. Washington struggled on the road at Arizona. So for that reason, I just think the Broncos are going to get this thing in here. Chase Young's going to play limited snaps. No Frank Clark or Greg Dulcich for Denver. I don't really think it's going to matter per se because the Broncos are a much better team than Arizona is. They should win this one. Not handily. I think Commanders plus 3.5 could be a sneaky play, or plus 3.5. It's staying there. So I think the spread for Washington could be in play, but I just like Russell Wilson, who played pretty well despite only scoring 16 points last week, to get this thing in the win column for Sean Payton's first Broncos win. Total is 39. I like the under in that game. Sunday Night Football, the Dolphins at the Patriots. We are all over Miami, and I tried to tell people this offseason how good Tua was going to be, how good the Dolphins were going to be, and maybe it's only a 1-week display. The Patriots did play very well against the Eagles last week in a rain-soaked mess. Probably will be a rain-soaked mess again in Foxborough this weekend, but Tua's the guy. And while it will be a lot tougher to throw in the rain there in New England, I just think the Dolphins are a better team. Vic Fangio is going to get that defense better than it was last week against a high-profile offense in the Chargers. And Dolphins get this one. I'm leaning -3. I'm not 100% go. I'm like 98% confident, so that tells you something. But yeah, give me the Dolphins, and we are all in on Miami. Total is 46.5 under. Under 46.5 in the rain. Monday Night Football, we have a double header, and I'm going to be pissed because I'm going to be in class for the first half of this game. But the Saints at the Panthers, and yes, once again, I am lone wolfing my Panthers. Look, if the Panthers don't turn it over 3 times last week, I don't know if they don't win that game or at least finish very close to Atlanta. Bryce Young's going to learn some stuff watching film this week, and I think home opener for the number 1 overall pick will be a good one. Love me some Derek Carr and the Saints. They got the win last week, close one over Tennessee. Panthers defense played very well. The run game was also pretty solid until Miles Sanders fumbled. But him and Hubbard both had good games on the ground. So I think they're going to try to ground and pound again and play some good defense against Derek Carr. And I think Carolina gets this win. Bryce Young's first and Frank Reich's first as the head coach. Total is 39.5. I lean under. And the second game on Monday night, look at that. I am rolling with the punches again with the Panthers and Steelers as my lone wolves. Two of my lone wolves anyways. But it can't get worse for Pittsburgh. Losing your home opener, getting obliterated in your home opener. And now you're hosting the Browns team that has confidence. They just took out an AFC superpower in Cincinnati last week, dismantled them 24-3. So you have teams coming off a blowout loss and a blowout win. One thing I'll say is the better coach is going to win this game, and that is Mike Tomlin. Him coming off a loss he's awesome. And the Steelers over the Browns is a really historic pick here. I just think that while Cleveland's defense is pretty solid, it's stepped down from San Francisco. And no Cam Hayward on the Steelers side, no Deontay Johnson. Allen Robinson's going to step up. Keanu Benton's going to step up. And they're going to get this win. It might be ugly. It might be close. They might have to win it weird. But they're going to get this win. And it's going to propel this team to the heights that we thought they were going to hit whenever they had an awesome preseason. So give me Pittsburgh at home. Give me the points, give me everything, money line, whatever you want. And I'm rolling with Kenny Pickett, TJ Watt, and that Steelers team there, especially TJ Watt. I didn't even talk about that. The matchup, no Jack Conklin for the rest of the season for Cleveland. So watch for Watt to line up there on that front side of Watson and get to the quarterback against a backup right tackle. Total is 38.5. I like the over, actually. 24-20. Best bets of the week here. 1 and 2 last week. It didn't turn out like I wanted it to. Of course, the Bengals lost and the Seahawks lost outright. -2 for Cincy, -5 for Seattle. Was not a good look. Luckily, the Eagles held on by 5 to cover the Eagles spread, so -4. But we're back at it this week, 1 and 2. Not a terrible start, minus some units probably, but let's get to it here. So the first one is not my most confident play. Jags +3.5 against the Chiefs. I do like the spread. If they win, they win. But I do like +3.5. I think it'll be a close game in Jacksonville. Even though the Chiefs will be motivated to get that first win of the season, I just think that the Jags have something cooking there, and it's going to be a close one. Jags +3.5 against the Chiefs. Chargers -3 at the Titans. I said about that, it's -2.5 now. Love that even more, getting it inside the field goal range to win. So -2.5 at Tennessee is the Chargers play there. And the Packers, it is now a +1.5 situation at Atlanta. So love that even more than the -1. Can still lose the game and still cover. But I think they're going to win the game anyways. Green Bay has the better quarterback, and I think they have the better overall team. Lock standings, it did not go well last week. So Jimmy and Logan both went with Seattle. I went with Jimmy's Vikings. We were all wrong. And all start off 0-1 in the lock standings this week or this year. So let's get all of our first wins here. Logan does not have his dog in yet, so we'll rectify that in the Tuesday show. But for me, anyways, I am going with the Chargers I love LA on the road in Tennessee there. Justin Herbert, even without Austin Eckler, I think Joshua Kelly should slide right into that offense and provide a good spark, and shouldn't throw the ball a lot with Kellen Moore there. Jimmy is going with San Fran, 8-point favorites there at the Rams, or 7-point favorites at the Rams. I think that's a great pick. I don't think that one's going to be even close. So yeah, Niners should get that one done in LA. Dog standings, the opposite of the locks. We all went 2-0, where all of our dogs won outright. So Logan went with the Packers plus 1.5 last week. They won outright against Chicago. And then Jimmy and I were on the Dolphins plus 3. They won outright in LA. So great start to the dog standings. We all got our 2 wins last week. Let's see how they play out this week. Again, Logan does not have his dog in right now, but we'll see who he picks. I am going with my Pittsburgh Steelers plus 2.5 on the at home against the Cleveland Browns. Love this play. I'm just saying, y'all, they're going to win outright. They're going to get this season rolling. Just a little late, week 2. But give me the Pittsburgh Steelers at home plus 2.5 against Cleveland Browns as my dog of the week. Jimmy is rolling with the Commanders. His lone wolf in that game plus 3.5 against the at Denver. Not a terrible play. I think they might cover that. I think they should cover that anyways. But I do think they'll lose, as Logan and I both picked the Broncos. So unfortunately, Jimmy, you're going to at least get 1 loss, maybe 2 if Russell Wilson shows up in his old self. And that is the show for today, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Next Friday, we'll be back talking week 3 NFL. Got your Thursday night football game recaps and any college game that is of note. We'll also give you game previews of the week 3 NFL slate and week 4 college football. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X at FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on Facebook, YouTube, and X, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at Football Addicts and Non. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see y'all back on Tuesday.